Hey guys, Cam here. So I know that Christmas is technically over, but I wanted to give a short response to an atheist TikToker that compares belief in Santa to belief in Christianity. Let's watch.
Man, kids are so stupid. Like, they still believe in Santa Claus. Dumb. It's like he's not real. Ugh. Anyway, I'm off to church.
Okay, so off the bat, I want to admit that this video is actually kind of funny. Like, this dude has pretty good comedic timing. His handle, if you want to check him out, is @BeyondGodAndReligion. Okay, let's break down the point this dude's trying to make here. He seems to think that belief in Christianity and belief in Santa are on par intellectually with each other. In other words, if it's silly to believe that Santa exists, then it's just as silly to believe that Christianity is true. There's a few points that I want to make by way of response here. Firstly, note that children aren't actually stupid for believing in Santa. Let's think about that for a second. Their parents, movies, and culture all give them ample reason to think that Santa exists. The parents, for example, might explicitly tell them that Santa exists. They might provide an atmosphere where belief in Santa is rewarded. They'll place new presents under the Christmas tree on Christmas Eve with "From Santa" written on the label. They'll eat a bite out of the cookie left for Santa while the kids are asleep, etc. Also note that most parents don't provide their children with reasons for thinking that Santa doesn't exist. They withhold that sort of information. These children, therefore, have many reasons to think that Santa exists and no good reasons for thinking that Santa doesn't exist. This actually makes belief in Santa rational and justified for them. Now, if adults were in this position, for example, if everyone, including trusted individuals, said that they've witnessed presents for children appearing under the tree from nowhere all over the world with "From Santa" written on the label on Christmas Eve, then it'd actually be perfectly rational for them to believe in Santa. And it might actually be the case that many Christians are in a similar position. They have many reasons for thinking that Christianity is true and no good reasons for thinking that it's false. If that's the position that a Christian is in, then Christian belief is perfectly rational for them. Now, obviously, as adults, we have access to excellent reasons for thinking that Santa doesn't exist. But the point is that children that believe in Santa don't have access to these reasons. If they did, they wouldn't believe in Santa. Kids are therefore by no means stupid for believing in Santa. But the philosophical question for us is this: are there equally good reasons against Christianity as there are against Santa? And this brings me to my second point. So secondly, I think we should all agree that adults that believe in Santa are being irrational. Belief in Santa has very powerful defeaters. But we shouldn't all agree that adults that believe in Christianity are being irrational. That's because Christianity doesn't have equally powerful defeaters. Consider the following powerful defeater against belief in Santa. The very people engendering belief in Santa in the first place don't even believe in Santa themselves. Every kid will eventually learn that their own parents don't believe in Santa, even though the parents might have at one point said that they did. In other words, the testimony on which a child's belief in Santa is based is undercut when parents reveal that the whole thing is false. I remember staying up all night one night when I was about 5 or 6 to see if Santa really came down the chimney, suspecting that he wouldn't. And in the morning, I told my parents that Santa never came and therefore wasn't real, and they both confirmed my suspicions. I think we can all agree that any adult that still believes in Santa after having been exposed to this and other powerful defeaters is being irrational. But going back to Christianity, does Christian belief have similar, extremely powerful defeaters? The answer is no, it doesn't. I've been personally studying the truth of Christianity for over a decade at this point. The most powerful defeater I've ever come across is the problem of evil. The problem of evil is basically the idea that a loving God wouldn't allow pointless evil, but when we survey the actual world, at least some of the evil we experience seems utterly pointless. The existence of pointless evil is an alleged defeater against Christian belief. But the way that this defeater differs from the one against Santa is that there are plausible responses to the problem of evil. Some Christians, like Dr. Mike Almeida, for example, have plausibly argued that God's existence is compatible with pointless suffering. To see a short video on how he argues this, which is actually fascinating, check the description. If Dr. Almeida is right, then we have a plausible defeater for the defeater from evil. In other words, we have a defeater. By the way, that's actually a technical term in philosophy. Another example of a defeater against the problem of evil is the fact that there are plausible theodicies that explain why God allows suffering. A theodicy is a reason why God allows suffering. One of my favorite theodicies is called soul building. Soul building says that a world with suffering provides the opportunity for the exemplification of the greatest goods, like courage, compassion, forgiveness, and sacrifice. These great goods can't obtain without serious suffering. Now, say what you will about this theodicy, but it's not stupid. It's not unreasonable. These defeaters aren't
dumb.
The basic point here is that the most powerful defeaters against belief in Christianity have plausible defeaters. And this is just not the case for defeaters against belief in Santa. Suggesting otherwise is definitely a thing you can do. You can even do it publicly in front of thousands of people, but I don't recommend it. Thirdly and lastly, there are many positive reasons for thinking that Christianity is true. There's the argument from contingency, causal finitism, arguments from limits, the argument from fine-tuning, arguments from more knowledge, the argument from beauty, the argument from psychophysical harmony, arguments from proper function, arguments from desire, arguments from religious experience, arguments from miracles, minimal facts arguments, maximal data arguments, Bayesian-style arguments for the resurrection, and so on. Now, instead of explaining all of these in this short video, I'll just direct you to the description where I've linked several important resources, including books and interviews I've personally conducted on the positive evidence for Christianity. I say all this to say, Santa's not real, but Christianity is true. Merry Christmas.